So welcome back again. I have another quick presentation for you about the 5 mistakes that you must avoid when doing your estate plan. So we'll kick it off with reason number 1. Mistake number 1 is not avoiding probate. So you'll hear me talk about probate. Probate is a lengthy legal process that your estate has to go through when you pass away, unless you do the correct planning to avoid probate. So just a quick highlight. In general, the probate process lasts 1 to 2 years, again, on average. I've met people who are in year 5 of probate for their parents' estate. There's different things that can happen. Also, it is costly. So on average, it's anywhere between 3% to 7% of the value of the estate. So you're looking at paying a decent amount of money just to have access to assets that maybe your parents or someone else left you, or maybe assets that you're going to be leaving to your own children or loved ones. So there is planning that can be done. So that is something that everyone needs to know, and it's not contingent upon wealth. Mistake number 2, passing an inheritance outside of an irrevocable trust, or even receiving an inheritance outside of an irrevocable trust. If you're going to receive an inheritance, and especially if you're going to receive a large inheritance, you want it inside an irrevocable trust, because to the extent that assets that you receive inside of a trust remain in a trust, they are protected from creditors, from lawsuits, divorcing spouses, whatever it may be. So even bankruptcy. So point is, you use the assets when you need them. Otherwise, you keep them in the trust and make sure that they're protected. Mistake number 3, not understanding the flexibility of an irrevocable trust. A lot of times people are scared to use trust planning, and particularly an irrevocable trust. And an irrevocable trust is what gives you creditor protection. It's also going to help with tax planning strategies. People are scared of it because they think they get locked in and there's no way to get out if there's some reason to need to get out. That's not true. An effective irrevocable trust is going to have flexibility built in, where you can change beneficiaries, you can change trustees, you can change trust protectors. We haven't really talked about trust protectors, but we will talk about that. You can change the administrative provisions of the trust. You can change the laws, the state laws that govern the trust. You can change really anything you want. You can amend it, you can revoke it, you can kick assets out. There's a ton of flexibility. It's a great. Mistake number 4, not receiving a step up in tax basis. Most people are not using their estate plan to receive a step up in tax basis, which ultimately reduces your capital gains tax. This is extremely important when you're passing assets in a trust, to make sure that you're using the correct provisions inside the trust to receive a step up in tax basis. Otherwise, you're going to pay more in capital gains tax than you need to. And mistake number 5, and I think this is the biggest mistake when it comes to estate planning right now, not reducing your annual income tax liability by using trust planning. There is an opportunity, there's a strategy using the trust provisions, the trust statutes of states that don't have a state income tax. You use those provisions to set up a trust to avoid paying state income tax on any taxable activity inside of the trust. It's a pretty simple concept, yet most people are not taking advantage of it. So even regardless if you live, and this is great for someone that lives in a place like California, Minnesota, anywhere with a state income tax, but especially those places with high state income tax, you can avoid state income tax on selling a business or your investment portfolio, your securities portfolio, by making sure that you're using a trust set up in a state with no state income tax. So make sure you're not avoiding these, make sure you are avoiding these mistakes when you do your estate plan.